interesting facts for you down at the other top, and I have to tell you in there. The population of Stockholm is not very big, actually, in terms of the city. In Sweden, the entire population of Sweden is only 9 million people. Just over 9 million people. Has anybody ever lived in London or visited London? Yeah, okay. You know how busy London is, I'm sure, if you've been there. 9 million people is the entire population of London. So imagine that spread out over this huge country. So there's lots of areas where there are lots of trees and water. So it's very, very beautiful. Now, in the metropolitan area, say like the county of Stockholm, there are about 2 million people that live in the county of Stockholm. But actually in the city itself, there are only 900,000 people, just over 900,000 people that live in the city of Stockholm. So that's less than 1 million people living in the capital city of this huge country, which makes it pretty cool to kind of walk around. I have to tell you, even though I said that you should have come last week when the sun was shining, actually this time of year is kind of a really great time to come to Stockholm because everything's open, everything's kind of in full season. But there's not like thousands of people everywhere. So congratulations on picking a really great week to come to Stockholm. And one of the weirdest things is if you're around tomorrow morning and you're around like early in the morning on a Saturday, you probably won't see anybody until about 12 o'clock. So you can have a nice stroll around the city and everybody else will be in bed and it'll be pretty cool. Now, the place where we are right now, we're at the back of the Royal Palace here. So beautiful, beautiful monuments. Lots of things that you can actually do here at the palace. Now this is listed as the official residence of the King and Queen of Sweden, but they don't actually live here. This is more like their workplace, so it's kind of like their office, if you like, which is a pretty nice office. How many of you work in this office? Actually, the place where they live is a place called Drottningholm's Palace, and it's about half an hour outside of the city, but well worth a visit. And one of those boat tours that I'm going to recommend to you later on actually takes you out to Drottningholm and you can have a little look. So I'll tell you in a little bit more. Now the palace here, considering the fact that the city of Stockholm is a medieval city, if you've done your maths from the last year from 1252, you'll know the city of Stockholm is well over 760 years old. But the palace here, on average, is actually only about 250 years old. Now, many, many years ago, on the exact same spot where this palace is now, there was a completely different palace. And it looked something like this. So, this was the original palace. This is on exactly the same spot where we are now. This was the Castle of the Three Crowns, or Castle of the Tre Kronor in Swedish. So this stood here from around about the middle to the end of the 1200s to the end of the 1600s, when in 1697 it burnt down in a massive fire. So it was very, very tragic. This huge monument to the city was lost. But let's be honest, which one's better? I know. This is the place where real kingdoms live. Now, this is a bit of a strange story that goes behind how this one ended up here. Well, firstly, they had to build a brand new palace for the royal family because they, of course, as if they've not got enough homes between them, they needed to make a royal palace. And so what they did was they hired an architect, and he was this young Swedish guy called Nicodemus Tessin. Now Nicodemus Tessin, he had only been kind of an architect for a few years. He wasn't very old, he was a little bit inexperienced, but the royal family really, really liked what he was doing. And so they hired him to design and build a brand new palace. Now Nicodemus Tessin, being a bit young and inexperienced, he was also a bit cocky. And so he kind of made some promises that he couldn't really keep up with. He actually told the royal family that it would only take him 6 years to build the brand new palace. But it didn't take 6 years. Do you think it would take 6 years building that? No. No. It actually took 54 years.
Wow.
So, oops. This is what you get when you hire, these millennials, making all these plans. These young people, I know, right? So 54 years and 6 years is a little bit different. And actually, so they started building it in the year 1700. And the royal family didn't move back in until 1754. before. But with all of the extra building work that was going on around that time, they actually didn't declare it officially complete until 1771. So technically, it actually took 71 years to declare completed. But here we are. Not as nice as the original, but let's move on from that. This is what we have now. And if I can recommend to you some things to do here at the Royal Palace, for 150 krona, you actually get 3 palace museums on one ticket. So you can go into the palace and you can have a look at some of the rooms where all of the old kings and queens have been. It's really, really cool. It's a great atmosphere in there. You can also go to the treasury, which is where they keep the crowns and all of the old swords from the kings from the 1600s, which is also super cool, especially if you're a massive geek like me. And also you can go to the Museum of the Tre Kronor, or the Museum of the Three Crowns, which tells you a little bit more about the old palace that stood here and how it burnt down. And there's actually some really cool artifacts in the museum there as well. Now, 150 krona, 3 museums, and that ticket is valid for 7 days. So that's a pretty good deal on a ticket. If you want to buy the tickets, straight in through that door there, or you can go into any one of the museums and they will tell you to there. Now, let's see. If you are roaming the halls of the Royal Palace, these are some of the people that you should probably be looking out for, okay? So this is the current King and Queen of Sweden. I'll reveal my next picture, that's for the story. So this is the King of Sweden. This is what do you think the King's name is? Yeah, Carl Gustav. Didn't I tell you, right? So Carl Gustav the 16th, or Carl 16 Gustav, as it would be written down in Sweden. He's been the king since 1973. A few weeks ago, he was 70, so they celebrated his 70th birthday here. So I always think that the King of Sweden looks like Professor Slughorn from the Harry Potter movies. Right? You were right there with me. She was like, what? Yeah. And now you've seen it, you can't unsee it. So there we go. Who knew that the King of Sweden was actually really Professor Slughorn? And the Queen, this is Queen Sylvia. Queen Sylvia is half Brazilian. Yay! And she's also half German as well. The Queen is half Brazilian, half German, and actually the Swedish king actually descends from a French bloodline. Aren't royal families really, really confusing? The British royal family, they're German somewhere along the line as well. It's very, very confusing. Anyways, they have 3 very handsome children. This is their oldest child. This is Crown Princess Victoria. She is the next in line to the Swedish throne. This guy here, this is her husband, Prince Daniel. Now we like Victoria a lot because she's actually the world's first female heir to a throne with a brother. So of course, you might know, traditionally in royal families it's always the oldest male that ends up ascending to the throne. But they changed the constitution here in the 80s to say that regardless of your gender, you either should be the king or the queen. It shouldn't matter if you're the firstborn child. Now it's a bit weird how it happened, because she was born as the first child, but then a few years later, before they changed that constitutional law, her little brother Carl Philip was born, and they made him the crown prince. But when they changed the law in the 80s, they actually took the title away from Carl Philip and gave it to Victoria. So how do you think Prince Carl Philip feels about that? Probably quite relieved, yes. Probably quite relieved, I would think so. So this was the first woman in a royal family for it to happen to. So it's a pretty momentous occasion, and a pretty good example. Now, the other reason that we like Victoria here, well, it's actually about this guy here, Prince Daniel. You see, before Prince Daniel was a prince, Prince Daniel was a fitness trainer. Yeah, he was a guy that owned a company called Balance Gyms. In the early part of the 2000s, Victoria decided that she wanted to get fit, because that's what you do in gyms, it's like watch people, and he became her personal trainer, and they fell in love. Yay! Weird, right? Has anybody ever been in a relationship with anybody in medical gyms? No. No. So, you know, this is how fairy tales happen in Sweden. You meet a handsome prince or princess at the gym, which is pretty cool. So, he will eventually be the king of Sweden, which is a pretty impressive promotion. To be the king of Sweden. So we like this couple. Now everybody in Sweden thinks that they can be married into the Swedish royal family without, you know, having previous royal connections. So it's pretty cool. One day she was a tour guide. The next day. Now, after they got married, the other two royal children did exactly the same thing. So this is Princess Madeline, she's the youngest of those three children. This is her husband, Christopher O'Neill, who is a US citizen. And he's kind of like, he's a banker on Wall Street. So he's a pretty wealthy guy. So let's face it, he's not normal, but you know, he's not got royal connections. And they actually offered him the chance to be a Swedish prince. He was eligible to be a Swedish prince by marrying a princess, but he turned it down because if you're a Swedish prince, you can't work on Wall Street at the same time, and vice versa. So isn't it nice to have those options? It's like, what do I want to be today? A Swedish prince, or you know, go make millions on Wall Street? So he kept his job and he turned down the title of being a Swedish prince. And then this handsome chap, this is Prince Carl Philip. This is the guy that was almost the king. And this is his beautiful wife. This is Princess Sophia. This is what handsome princes look like in Sweden, everyone. Thus upholding the rumour that Sweden is a country full of beautiful people. And this lady here, Sophia Hellqvist, Princess Sophia as she is now known. Sophia Hellqvist's previous job was as a bikini model. And you know those reality TV shows where they put lots of beautiful people in a house on a paradise island, they add alcohol and put cameras in and see what happens. She was on one of those shows as well. So they started mixing in the same circles, they met and fell in love, and now she's a princess. I mean, seriously, does this really happen in real life? Yes, it does, in Sweden. So the good news here, folks, is that you don't need to be royal to get married to a Swedish royal. That's good news. The bad news is that they're all now taken. And secondly, obviously, by the evidence that we can see, to get married into the Swedish royal family, you either have to have lots of money or a really great body, right? A six-pack. So, you know, not a six-pack of Kinnaird booze. So there we go. So pretty cool. As far as royal families go, let's say that the Swedish royal family is pretty cool. Victoria turned up to their wedding last summer, in a dress that was made by H&M. Not only was it made by H&M, but it was made from their recycled clothing. That's cool, right? That's cool. So you know, there we go. And the other thing that you can do here, I forgot to mention that earlier, the other thing that you can do here at the palace, as well as going in and having a little tour there, you can actually see the changing of the guard ceremony. Has anybody been to see that yet? Yeah, okay, did you see anything? No, okay. So here's another tip from me to you. The changing of the guard, it's free. You don't have to pay anything to see it. It's about half an hour, 40 minutes. Monday to Saturday, it starts at 12:15. Sunday, it starts at 1:15, right here in this courtyard. But they do not have the rule of tall people at the back, short people at the front. So get here early, okay? Let's keep moving. The rain is coming. Please